Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an incredible story, a connection between Venice and Moscow that feels like it's straight out of a fairy tale. We're going to trace how the spirit of Venetian craftsmanship traveled north, taming wild rivers, and even helping create the famous ruby stars of the Kremlin. It's a story that seems like magic, but I promise you, it's all rooted in real history, real glass, and real stone. To really get this, we have to start with our main character. Now, he's not a person exactly. He's a symbol, a powerful metaphor for the soul of Venice. Think of him as an angel, a winged lion, who becomes the guardian of the city, representing its unique genius and its passion for human creativity. I know, it sounds like a crazy question, right? But the answer connects the shimmering lagoons of Italy with the vast, sprawling waterways of Russia. And to figure it out, we have to follow this Venetian spirit on its journey, starting right in its beloved home. Okay, so our story kicks off in one of the most creative places the world has ever seen, Venice. And at the heart of it all is our protagonist, the winged lion, the city's official guardian angel and the perfect symbol for its incredible spirit of ingenuity. As you can see, this wasn't just some passing phase. This bond grew over centuries. Legend says the winged lion was there right at the beginning, in 421, helping the first Venetians build a city literally out of the sea. By 1172, he was officially recognized with a statue watching over the city, and by 1261, his face was on the Doge's official seal. This guardian watched over Venice as it grew into an absolute world of genius. And what a city it became! By the 1700s, Venice was way more than just a city. It was the world's workshop for everything luxurious and innovative. I mean, think about it. Murano glassmakers basically had a global monopoly on crystal-clear mirrors. The lace from Murano was so fine, they called it stitches in the air, and it was worth its weight in gold. And its violins, they literally gave voice to the entire Baroque era. Venice was a superpower of craft. But then, in the year 1700, our angels, surrounded by all this beauty, saw something. He was flipping through a diplomat's album, and in the drawings from this far-off, distant land, he saw a haunting reflection of his own home. And that discovery was about to send him on a whole new mission. The drawings showed this incredible parallel. He saw the Volokhan people in northern Russia who, just like the Venetians, lived on islands surrounded by water. But their lives couldn't be more different. Their entire existence was defined by the Wolok, this brutal, back-breaking work of physically dragging heavy ships over dry land just to get from one river to the next. So what does he do? He can't just stand by. He's moved by their struggle, and he's armed with centuries of Venetian know-how. So, in 1702, he takes flight, leaving the beauty of the lagoon behind and heading north, determined to bring the genius of Venice to the people of the High Wolok. When he gets there, Tsar Peter the Great is already trying to build a huge waterway. But the first attempt, a Dutch design, was a total disaster. The canal just ran dry. And then, this brilliant self-taught engineer, Mikhail Serdyukov, steps up. Guided by the angel's Venetian wisdom, he suggests something totally radical. Don't just connect the rivers, control them. Build a massive reservoir, a whole system of locks and canals. Basically apply that Venetian water taming logic to the Russian landscape. And the result? It was an absolutely mind-blowing success. At its peak, this new water system was handling between 4,000 and 5,000 ships every single year. Can you imagine? This wasn't just some canal. It became the main artery, the lifeline, for the Tsar's brand new capital, St. Petersburg. And just as Venice had literally risen from the swamp, a new city, Vyshny Wolochok, grew up right there around the canals and locks. A city born from mastering the water, a true echo of Venice in the heart of Russia. So, around 1725, his work is done. The waterway is a huge success. The angel starts to feel the pull of home. But he's not about to leave this new city on its own. He summons his wingless lion brothers, telling them to watch over this place, to nurture the seeds of Venetian craft that he'd planted. Fast forward 2 centuries, and that Venetian spark bursts into flame. In 1923, the Soviets open the Rotor Mai, or Red May glass factory, right there in Vyshny Wolochok. Then, during the war, in 1944, this factory gets an almost impossible mission: create a new, brilliant ruby glass for the stars on top of the Kremlin towers. And this is where that legacy of innovation just shines. The glassmakers at Rotor Mai didn't just dig up some old formula. No way. They invented something totally new, a unique 4-layer ruby glass. Get this. It's this complex sandwich of ruby, crystal, and milk glass that had this incredible ability to glow a perfect, deep red, whether it was lit by the sun from the outside or by light bulbs from within, a true masterpiece. And that echo, it didn't stop with glass. You could see it in textiles too. The delicate, small-scale craft of Burano lace, made for aristocrats, was reborn on a massive Soviet industrial scale. The proletarian avant-garde textile factory in Vyshny Wallachuk became this colossal giant with 4,000 workers supplying fabric to the entire Soviet Union. The scale was wildly different, but that same mastery of the craft was there. And finally, the music of Venice found its Russian soulmate. In 1961, the Twerza piano factory opened, and they didn't just make regular pianos. They created a totally unique instrument called the duet, which blended the sound of a piano and an accordion. People said you could hear both the Venetian waves and the Russian wind in its music. But as we know, these things don't always last forever. Tragically, with the fall of the Soviet Union and all the economic changes that came with it, these incredible factories, the glassworks, the textile giants, the piano makers, one by one, they fell silent. The machines just stopped. So is that it? Is that the end of the story? Was that whole legacy of the Venetian spirit just lost? Not even close. According to our story, that creative spirit simply moved. It left the factory floor and embedded itself in something more permanent, in art, in light, and in the very stone of the buildings themselves. When you start looking for the connections, they are everywhere. The deep, glowing reds that the Venetian master Titian was famous for, reborn in the ruby glass of the Kremlin stars. The almost mathematical precision you see in Canaletto's paintings of Venice, you can see it reflected in the perfect engineering of Serdyukov's canals. Even the moody, dramatic light of Tintoretto's work finds an echo in the way Russian painters capture the unique light over the lakes in this area. The spirit of the masters was alive, just in new forms. Our angel suggests that the real secret, the source code for all this creativity, is back in Venice, in the Doge's palace. He tells us to stop thinking of it as just a building. It's a piece of music carved in stone. The heavy arches are the bass line, the light, airy windows are the melody, and all the little details are the rhythms and the solos. It's a complete architectural score. And the coolest part, this isn't just a metaphor, you can literally see it. If you look closely at the facade of the Dramatic Theater in Vyshny Wallachuk, you can spot direct quotes from that Venetian score, the same rosette shapes, the same style of windows. It's like the builders in Russia were humming a tune they'd never even heard, a melody written in stone 1,000 miles away. Today, the furnaces at Rotterdam are cold. The looms are still. But the story, the symphony, it's not over. And that's really the big lesson here. Industries can rise and fall, economies can change, but that creative spirit, the code for beauty and genius, that's immortal. It doesn't just vanish. It embeds itself in the world around us, in the curve of an arch, in the color of glass, just waiting for someone to find it again. So this tale of two cities leaves us with a pretty amazing thought. It suggests that maybe the blueprints for our own future, the solutions we're looking for, don't always have to be invented from scratch. Maybe that music of creation is already all around us, encoded in the masterpieces of the past, just waiting for a generation with the eyes to see it and the ears to finally truly listen.